Hopefully you guys can see me, hear me. This is, my third or fourth time doing this, so hopefully I got it figured out by now. But this is the new video for our new block that we're rolling out this week. Some guys started it this morning, making the video today. Hopefully get it out to you guys so you know what's going on in the next coming weeks here. So basically, after the first block there, we were setting the foundation, right? We were laying things down, working on that eccentric control, that neuromuscular control, being able to tolerate a lot of weight for long periods of time coming down, being able to absorb that force and then redirect it back up. Similar concept here, except we're cutting back on the eccentrics and we're going to start to load the barbell up now that we kind of have that foundation built. So it's going to be the same exercises that we've had for the previous 4 weeks. No exercise changes. We're just changing the prescriptions that we're using. So exercises are going to stay the same, but the stimulus that we're going to provide will be different because of the load on the barbell and the change in eccentrics. So week 1, going from 12-10-8 to 8-6-4, just dropping the volume off while we increase the intensity. You see here on this first day, week 1, we have a set of 4 at 85%, which is pretty heavy, while having that 3-1-1 tempo eccentric. So Braden Loritz, Javi, and Cam hit that this morning. You can ask them. I mean, those were some difficult sets. Similar thing as we go down here, same exercises, heavy prescriptions. We're going to progress this going from 10 to 8, and then we're staying at 8, jumping up a percentage, dropping down to 4, adding a set, but we're at 95% of their percent difficulty. So basically a 9.5 out of 10 difficulty on that bent over row. So it's going to get heavy. The overhead seated press, the overhead shoulder press is basically what it is with a dumbbell, as well as the lat pull down. Similar concept as the bench press. We're going to start heavy at 80, but a lot more volume with eccentrics, and then we're just slowly going to pull off the eccentrics while increasing the intensity, so the percentage that we're going at, and decreasing the volume, leading up to a 3x4 at 95%. So those presses and those pulls are going to be really, really heavy. You'll see here as we get up in the bench pressing, by week 3, we pull all eccentrics off and they're just straight going. They're unracking, dropping, popping, right? Set of 7 at 80%, set of 5 at 85, and then a set of 3 at 90. That's about 1 rep in the reserve. So they're supposed to have about 1 rep in the tank. Not true failure at quite that point, because the next week they're going for rep maxes. 7 at 83%, 5 at 87, and then 3 at 93. All of those sets are to failure, basically. And week 4 is honestly probably going to be a miniature test week where I'm going to tell them, hey, that set of 3 at 93, you get, if you got 4, 5, 6, you're pushing for 4, 5, 6. And that's basically an easy way to test them out within a set. Like they just, if you can hit 4, 5, or 6 at 93%, your 1 rep max is increased. That's just pretty straightforward, simple. But you can see here as we go down, 95% on that last week. Like it's going to be heavy. It's going to be hard. Decreasing the volume overall as we come down on the bear push-ups, and just kind of in general, because as the volume decreases, intensity should be increasing, or vice versa. As we're going to increase the intensity, volume has to drop off a little bit so they can actually hit that weight. This is the first day with the bench press, but I'll go over these other days, but at the same time, it's the same concepts over and over, just with different exercises. So the same prescription that we were using on the bench press is the same we're going to do on the trap bar. And I just do that primarily because if these are all movements that I want to progress the 1 rep max, I'm going to use pretty similar prescriptions for all of them because I want all of them to increase at the same magnitude. So 8-6-4, 8-6-4, those first 2 weeks, only change being a little bit of percentage. and pulling back the eccentrics a little bit. Then we dropped to 753 those last 2 weeks. And like I said, those last 2 weeks are really pushing it. And the week 4 is essentially a test out week. All of them should have updated 1 rep maxes. All of them should have accurate 1 rep maxes. So I'm really hoping after this block, we start to move the needle a little bit in the strength world. That first block was very much so hypertrophy based, honestly. Some basic strength, yes, but a lot of volume, a lot of time under tension was definitely more focused towards hypertrophy. This is going to have some hypertrophic effects because of the amount of volume they're doing, but it's definitely more geared towards strength. But still a mix of both there. So as you'll see, we're still going to do Nordic hamstring curls. We're still doing all that stuff, building the base yet and still, while also putting on some strength, hopefully. You'll see here with the rear foot, the Bulgarian split squats is essentially what it is. Same concept, lowering the volume, but jacking up that intensity where they're going to be real heavy and force stability throughout the entire kinetic chain on that last week where they have 4 at 95%. Heavy hip thrust, like we talked about, build the butt, right? Got to have big glutes, got to have strong glutes, and be able to transmit that force. Similar concept as we've been rocking with the calf raise, getting all the way up to a 5-1-1 tempo. I want to stress that soleus. I want to be able to absorb and transmit force throughout there. So that's kind of the thinking with that. Moving on to day 3. So like we talked about last block, there's going to be intensity-based days and there's going to be volume-based days. The end of the week is the more volumetric type day, and it's not a huge difference. It's just 10-8-6 versus 8-6-4, and then 9-7-5 versus 7-5-3. So just a little bit more volume, but still really high percentages. Approximately the same reps to failure, just different percentages with different reps. Still keeping about the same overall reps in reserve. Really going to push here in these last 2 weeks. I'm really going to hammer on them that if you only have 6 pull-ups, most of you, besides about Javi and maybe Miles, should be adding weight to yourselves. You should be able to do 6 body weight pull-ups and add a 10-pound, 15, 20, whatever it is, weight to yourself on the pull-up. In my experience, even though I've only been doing this for maybe 2-3 years, in my experience, where you really start to gain strength on pull-ups specifically is when you can start to add weight. If you can do some resisted pull-ups, the number of unweighted ones you can do just skyrockets. So really hoping to see that come through there. Incline dumbbell bench press, keeping the trap bar shrugs, moving the percentages up like we've been doing. Nothing too crazy there. Kicking up the percentages, kicking down the reps. Same concept we've been following. And last but not least, going to try to keep this video a little bit shorter than the previous 2. That last day of the week is their back squat week. Same concept as we've been following. Cutting back the eccentrics, moving up the percentage. Same exercises, just different stimulus by prescription. So it's kind of where I'm at with things. Let me know if you guys have any questions, any feedback, want some things edited before, these guys get too far into it. They're going to get through, most of them are going to get through week 1 this week. Some of them starting week 1 next week. So this will line up well where we can get feedback and exchange thoughts before everybody really gets going on it. So let me know some thoughts. I really look for your feedback. Even if it's, hey, I like this, or hey, this sucks. I'd like to know both. No answer is not a good answer to me. Like I want you guys' feedback. I'd at least want a little bit of acknowledgement that you watched the video. Appreciate everything so far. Looking forward to keep building with these guys and hopefully push some numbers here in the next few weeks and prepare these guys for a good fall. Thank you.